everybody and welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing this evening? I hope we are well. God, it feels good to be talking into this microphone again. How are we all? And hello Heritage Railway Productions, hello Chris Hales, welcome to the chat. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. As you can see, we have the D3 in front of us. I said earlier that we might not be working on the D3 because I had injured my wrist. It's okay enough, I think. Does sound better. Excellent. Audio clear, but maybe a teensy bit distant. Is that any better, James? Is that any better? For those that want some clarity there, I literally pulled my microphone into my face. I am glad it's sounding better. We have a new Creative X5 plugged into the laptop. Proper sound card, running beautifully. I am very well, other than the aforementioned injured wrist, thank you, Chris. Too much DIY. Right, so that is genuinely better, is it, James? Because I have just moved the microphone closer to me. Not uncomfortably close, I can work with it here, just closer than it was before. Obviously I have more testing to do. So yes, the D3. We started this loco last week and it's looking absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Sorry to hear about that. I feel for you. Injured my wrist once after a bike accident. Yeah, it's closer is better and any DIY is too much. I love a bit of DIY, James. I have ripped all the skirting boards out of my hallway, found many numbers of horrors and laid a new floor yesterday. Nice and clear and close. Oh, and gosh, X5, I remember the X5. Well, they still, it's their top of the range card still. I can't put X5 G6 maybe? I can't remember. It's got one of them posh reversible USB-C thingies that you get on phones these days. Luckily my laptop also and reconnected again. Did we have some dropout there? Well, I'm impressed Streamlabs managed to reconnect if we did. But yes, I'm hoping we're back. I'm going to refresh the chat because I know... Oh, there we go. We had a big dropout. Yeah, I got an actual disconnected message up that time. The message that I used to get, and I'd have to end the stream because Streamlabs couldn't manage to reconnect. However, it did this time, which is nice. So yes, the X5, I think it's a G6 or something with a posh reversible USB-C that you get on phones these days, because I have a posh laptop that has one of those ports on it, which I bought purely for doing YouTube. Didn't feel like a waste of money at all, that. Tell you what, I've earned a lot less from doing this than that laptop cost. But it's all good fun, isn't it? And yeah, my wrist, whilst now a little bit red, it's not swollen at all, so I think we're okay. So we're going to stick some umber on this, because why wouldn't we stick some umber on this? And we're going to stick some more colours in the cab, because we don't want a chocolate cab either. I was hoping to spray this with some primer this weekend. You won't be shocked to hear I haven't done that. But it's been washed with warm soapy water, which you should do with resin. But we're going to play with it and it's going to be fine, he says. With the Phoenix Precision Marsh Umber. No, not an old Triang Chassis Max. A nice modern Hornby DCC ready chassis. You make a very silly presumption thinking I've got a Triang chassis. I have a proper high-spec detailed one. That's my pot for spraying. This is my pot for painting with. Oh, look, punching the microphone. It's been a while since I've done that, hasn't it? Car, being able to punch the microphone. Thank you, microphone. There we go. I couldn't have done that with that wrist earlier today, so it's definitely improving. Let's see how well bare resin takes paint. Ah, bare resin. I hope it doesn't attack. Not well at all by the looks of it. That is a shame. As I say, I was hoping to get this primered before tonight. But with the need to DIY and the wrist injury, the world was against that idea. Blue tack being shouted at me. Yes, blue tack. That was a bit too much pressure for the wrist. But we'll get there. We'll be fine. You're a trooper, Gary. Well, someone's got to be. Tell you what, I love doing these live streams too much. My wrist has been strapped up all day. It feels nice to not have it strapped up for a bit though. So that's always a plus. How many coats of paint will that body kit take? Who knows? It's probably 2 or 3. So it should have been primered, but the weld was against that idea. I blame the weld entirely. It's totally not my fault for not doing it earlier in the week. If you invest in some of that Phoenix paint, not cheap but great colours. Indeed, it is not cheap, but it is such fantastic paint to work with. I have never had any problems with it, either brush painting or airbrushing. I know both those have brush and I don't like it. For airbrushing I mix it 50-50 with thinners and get a brilliant out of it every time. I do absolutely love it. Hashtag not sponsored. Waits for Alex to call him a shield. Okay, that's how long my static ones took to paint. Fair enough. So I always expect 2 coats, but this may well take a 3rd looking at how this is coming out, which it probably wouldn't need if I'd have got primer on it. But as I say, the weld didn't want it to have primer. It's the weld's fault, not mine. Totally. But that is looking better already. Much less like a bar of white chocolate now. More like dark chocolate. Gave in to the temptation, now waiting for dispatch for Farish C-Class. Oh, very nice, Simon. Very nice indeed. I have seen the Farish C-Class up close. It is an absolutely beautiful model. Good evening, Killian. How are you? Forget your wristwatch how this is going. It's just as painful. It's going fine. It's going fine, Harry. And how are you this evening? And yes, as the chatbot says, do remember to smash that like button or give it a gentle tap. And whilst you're down there, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. I'll tell you what, I looked at my YouTube stats the other day and I don't even know why I bother with that subscribe bit. Apparently 86% of my viewers are subscribers. If you are one of that 14% that is not subscribed, well, why not? Go subscribe now. It's really awesome. Ring the notification bell. Come back more. All that good fine stuff. I have the double O gauge C-Class in BR Black. See, it just looks nicer in Wainwright, but yeah, they're smart in every livery, those C-Classes. Killian is well, that is good. Harry is good. How's the wrist, says Killian? The wrist is better than it was. I've got feeling in my fingers again, so I know I can, I know that I'm gripping the paintbrush and how hard. So I'm not going to break anything, which is nice. But it definitely needs a few days rest. Oh lovely, the umber is going on. The umber is going on. And it's already making me very happy, to be honest. Hydration, I did see that a second ago, and hydrated. You are quite right, James. Hydration is important. Did some research. C-Class. It's converted into a saddle tank engine. Oh yes, the S-Class. Lovely little loco. I would like a model of the S-Class one day. Not the Triang one either. For those that don't know, Triang did an S-Class. It was their early wind-up saddle tank. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I've ordered the Southern Black with sunshine lettering. Oh, I do like them with in sunshine lettering livery. I mean, it's still not Wainwright, but it is a nice livery. Not going to break anything. Famous last words. Indeed. But so far I'm not breaking anything. Got that saddle tank. Excellent. Put an S-Class drawing on Discord a while ago. You did. I think I have it saved actually, Killian. Gasp, no primer. No, the weld was against primer. And it wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to do it. It was going to get done last night originally. But my wrist and all that. Because I was in proper agony with it last night. Earlier this week I picked up the Railway Modeller and Golden Arrow J is quite off. The only other option is the Scratchfield Ace Productions brass kit. Is it off it that far off? I've picked up the Modeller to get the J-Class drawings. I was quite disappointed by the lack of Baltic drawings given the name of the article. It does look scratch buildable though. Possibly even using the Hornby Flying Scotsman chassis as I did with my Baltic. Always wanted some sort of Hunslet of Leeds saddle tank engine used in the corridor. I can see why you'd think that, but no, it is indeed the Chatham S-Class. Just much, much bigger than it's supposed to be. How's the hand? It's better than it was. I have feeling in my fingers again. And I can feel it in my toes. Let's end that one there. We don't need that any more song references. I'd never do that. So yeah, it's better than it was, but it still hurts. Okay, have a nice one. Good luck with the project. Sure to watch the replay. Okay, thanks for coming, Max. See you later. Golden Arrow J tank is fine. Matches the drawings in Russell very well. I can't remember who the source of the drawings in Modeller is. I've got a feeling it's a BT drawing. But as the Golden Arrow J-Class is now out of production, for me at least, it's irrelevant. Because I don't have one. I was extremely disappointed too. There's probably 5 close measurements on the J. It would take more effort than scratch building. Fair enough. Someone to say song references. Gold. Always believe in your soul. I'm glad I know that one well enough that I can joke sing it every time. Because you really don't want me to start singing properly. It's even worse, I assure you. Well, that is our umber sections umbered. So yes, good evening, Alex. The good lady Alex, how are you? I hope you are well. I like that song. It's a great song, isn't it? I wish I really did take the royalties home like I sometimes claim. Think the Flying Scotsman chassis isn't very good on scratch building chassis as we speak. Fair enough, Harry. What do you guys think of locos like Birch Grove? Beautiful. Beautiful loco. It's a Brighton loco, so it's beautiful. I have 3 Bachmann E4s, I think. Maybe 4. It's amazing how quickly a quick coat of paint makes a model look less like white chocolate. Almost as amazing how quickly as Pico platform edges look better with brick plastic art. Indeed. Yes, I'm much happier now that we're not looking at some white chocolate. The kids have been very insistently calling it too much pressure, calling it white chocolate all week. You've got to start remembering to do stuff with my left hand. AK, I dismantled 3 more wardrobes today. Just did my bed still. Final leg now. Got about 10 days to the final move. Yeah, it's not a fun time moving, is it? That's why I haven't done it in 13 years. Should be more than J-Not for a lovely looking engine. Well, yeah, I need to get your E4 at some point, Javier. I've got a chassis for it. Isn't very good equals unprototypical. I assumed that's what you meant. I haven't actually compared it. I just know I used one for my Baltic. All things Brighton, beautiful. All terriers, great and small. Yes, brilliant, Linny. Love it. Batman E4 is actually somewhere on the list. Excellent. I approve of not moving. I'm too used to moving. It's a problem. That is a problem. Approve of LB&SCR hymns. I've never moved house. Before getting this place, say 13 years ago, I moved from my mum's to my father-in-law's. No, to my grandmother-in-law's, then to my father-in-law's, then to my mother-in-law's, then back to my father-in-law's, then to a room share, then to a flat, and then to here in the space of 18 months. That was fun. I do not recommend moving that often. I've forgotten one of my paints because I'm a professional like that. Which is in Mahogany. Lord Stroudley made them all. Oh, excellent. Oh, look at that, it fell and opened itself. Yeah, that one's knackered. Luckily, I've got a new tin. Thought about either going for LB&SC or Southern Railway green livery. I mean, LB&SC is always the best livery. Don't be a student lived in 6 places in 6 years. Well, you just heard mine. See why you don't ever want to move again. Yeah, it was a while. Gary's not obsessed, he just likes them a lot. See, I don't know the lyrics to all things, the tune to All Things Bright and Beautiful well enough to sing past that initial bit. Because I haven't sung All Things Bright and Beautiful since I was very small. Okay, not very small, probably early teens. Fell and opened itself when it fell over, painting coaches. Let's stick that blue tack down. And remember to use my left hand this time. There we go, we have a floor. And it's slightly better. Learn to use my left hand quick when it hurts. Wish I'd had the foresight to make a cab interior for my J1. No, you don't. Have you heard Harry's issues with making a cab interior for that? The D3 comes with the floor and the back wall. The rest of this is pinched out of the M7 that donated its chassis. And did you know I have a Twitter account? The bot wants you to know I have a Twitter account. Sometimes I use it to tweet things that aren't directly related to the live stream. So there's that. I mean, mainly I retweet other stuff. Good evening, Great Northern 6. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. I do indeed also have a Discord by virtue of I can't be bothered to remake all the commands and the chatbot won't let me manually reorder them. That comes up quite late in the stream. But I do have one, ! Discord, if you want to get a link earlier than the chatbot will give it to you. Incidentally, I'm now humming All Things Bright and Beautiful. Excellent. We are glad to hear you are humming All Things Bright and Beautiful. And I am going to remind everyone that hydration is important. Look at that, 2 Discord links. Both from people who are already members of the Discord, but shh. Find it goes too tacky and streaky with a paintbrush at times. I'm still intrigued by your positive experience with Phoenix paints. I found them hit and miss, but no doubt that's my dreadful technique with thinning or brush painting. I have literally never had issues with it. Ever. I've had issues with some of my other paints. Probably because they're really old, but I've never had issues with the Phoenix paints. I've never had it go tacky, and I mean obviously it's streaky now because it's a first coat, but I've never had it go streaky either once it's dry and got enough coats. And I find that every tin of it I've had, see I have a Marsh Umber tin and a Marsh Umber tin. This one is my brush painting tin, this one is my airbrushing tin. I find that a 50-50 mix with thinners always works in my airbrush no matter what. So I want to pick up on my hydration vessel. I just went to pick up my hydration vessel, but it appears to have sprung a leak. That's not good. That means you need a new hydration vessel. In which case, if you type !merch into the chat, you can get yourself a mug that says hydration is important. Also has my logo on it. Find it can help fin them and top up the finning. My CR Coach Lake has been tacky sometimes, doesn't airbrush very well even when finned. I've certainly not had that issue on my ones. But my airbrush needs seeing too. Although I did brush paint those, obviously, because I did them on stream. Gary is taking the paint straight from the pot, so there's no need to top up the finning. I only fin it for airbrushing. I also only fin it for airbrushing. I find it is already very good for brush painting. Well, but which tune? Oh, you're talking about airbrushing. The only one I know. Just to give you enough information to infer the answer. I thought Gary was a mug that says hydration is important. Very true, Linny. Very true. Yeah, we got a merch link. James, Royal Oak, actually. Not Royal Oak even. I only know Royal Oak as a station on the Hammersmith and City line. I'll be honest, I don't even know it as that. Am I not Royal Oak? There must be royal blood in me somewhere. Isn't there in everyone? Hey look, I've got a wagon. Which, in all honesty, I forgot needs another coat of paint. I wanted to put the transfers on it. But it actually needs another coat of paint, so we got some matte 70. I'll happily stick to rattle can for all over colours, marsh umber, Vauxhall, Brazil, brown. I mean, can you not get Phoenix, marsh umber in a rattle can? I know they do lots of rattle can colours. Oh, this feels weird being a lefty. I am the mole. It's a little warmer than Humbrol Pullman Umber, which I also use for marsh. Fair enough. It's a limit to rattle cans. Sadly, I couldn't even get MR Crimson Lake. Oh, that's a bit rubbish. Although, as I like my airbrush, so it's cool. Being a lefty is very weird, but we're a decent lot, really. Oh, you're a lefty. So both the Alexes are lefties. You weirdos. But yeah, I had this brilliant plan that I was going to stick the transfers on this whilst we were waiting for the loco body to dry. I've even got the transfers wrapped up in their bit of paper here. Now I picked this up off the layout. It's like, oh, it needs another coat of paint still. I was not impressed. All the best people are weirdos and about 10% of them also left-handed. I mean, this is true, James. All the best people are weirdos. I, meanwhile, cannot wait for my wrist to fully recover so I can do things that require some degree of force. Question for anyone out there who may happen to have this have the 5 and 9 PO wagon. I'm talking to you, Linny. I have 2 star-shaped builder's plates for it. They are not described in the instructions and I cannot find them on the picture. Does anyone know where they go? I forgot I had them when we were building them because they were actually sent to me separately because Chris forgot to pack them when he did the wagon for me. So they've always been stored separately. Those look like the stars off a tank wagon. What? See, Chris sent them to me separately. He said, oh no, I forgot the builder's plates for your wagon, here. And they arrived a few days later than the wagon. But I've never seen anywhere that they could possibly go. Brother went mad with a form that asked for physical disabilities. Are you left-handed? Nice locos in the background. Thank you, J94. I was feeling like big Brighton engines tonight. Probably because I've been working on a second one of these K-classes recently that I picked up on eBay cheap. That is not being done for a video at all and will probably never even appear in one. So if you want to see that one, you have to join my Discord because pictures of it will appear there. I got it on eBay for less than you would expect to get a K-class for. Purely with the intention of building it for fun and selling it on. They look rather left-hand side of the toolbar. See, that's what I thought originally, but they don't seem to fit. Look rather large for builder's plate. Did you order anything else from him at the time? Take it, builder's plates aren't mentioned in the instructions. Builder's plates are not mentioned in the instructions, and no, it was just this wagon and like some buffers and possibly some lamps, like oil lamps for coaches. But this was the only bit of rolling stock. I'm pretty sure yeah, it was just that, some buffers and some lamps. Something incredibly satisfying about the way the knife glides along a row of bricks, plasticard going across the whole sheet in one motion. Oh, it's been too long since I've scratch built a building. But yes, it is a fantastic feeling when that happens. I quite agree. Some star-shaped transfers on the clay cross wagon, but otherwise I can't see anything for it. Strange. Good evening, Thomas. How are you? I hope you are well. Clad my platforms, no scratch building here. It's close enough. I've only used brick papers when scratch building. My platforms didn't need cladding. They're from, my platform fronts are from the Wheels Craftsman's kit, which is already brick fronted. I will soon be working on buildings again though, because I do believe with everything I've been doing recently that Oak Hill's life is coming to an end, to be replaced with Oak Hill 2 Electric Boogaloo. And I will build or modify the shed building appropriately as soon as that's done. Right, cheers, feeling a bit tired, but hey ho, how are they and how is everyone else? I am not bad, other than the slowly recovering wrist. But it's not swollen, it just hurts a lot and can't take any pressure. But other than that, I'm good. There we go, your ladyship. That's not even tacky now. And that's only been put on, what, 40 minutes ago? What are you going to do with the original Oak Hill? Its history at this point. What I am going to do is remove the buildings from it, take up as much of the track as possible. Some of it won't come up, that's just a fact of life. And then I'm going to break it up into little pieces and take it down the tip. The main problem with that, it is most likely going to break itself up as I take it away from its position on the wall. This now looks like a Kinder Surprise. Yes, excellent. In the shape of a D3, obviously. And the bot says, remember kids, hydration is important. And that's actually the end of my first mug of drink. It's looking good. I may give the paints another go if I can buy some to show in future, if we're allowed those. Yeah, we'll be allowed them eventually. So, saying eventually, hang on a second. The Tinkers Park show at Tinkers Park is happening next weekend. They have not cancelled, despite the fact a lot of layouts have pulled out. They are still going ahead next weekend, and you've not moved yet, so you could get to a show next weekend. I don't know what's going to be there. Uckfield had 4 layouts due to go, and we have pulled out all of our layouts. We have also cancelled our show in October. For those that don't know, it is public knowledge now. It's on our website, so I can tell you all that. Which was a shame, but these things happen. But yeah, Tinkers Park's going ahead next weekend. I will not be going. I haven't pulled out to then attend. That's actually okay, I could paint it. Tinkers Park show at Tinkers Park. Yes. Tinkers Park is nearish Uckfield. It's a very nice show they do, actually. On top of the model railways, they've got a 2-foot gauge railway, which is great fun because I know one of the guys that volunteers there on the railway. So a couple of years ago I was doing Tinkers Park with one of Uckfield's layouts and managed to spend half a day driving a diesel round the 2-foot gauge. That was good fun. Diesel, yeah, I know. But it was narrow gauge, so that's slightly more acceptable, from what I understand. I should probably really use this time of this to get the first coat on like the black sections or something. But I'm not gonna. Interesting, do they have signals on the narrow gauge line? They do. They operate it very well when the public's there. Oh god, look at that tank side, that's looking beautiful. I know you can't see it because it's too shiny, but it's a solid colour. Proof of solid colours. Thank you, James. As do I. So Tinker's Park is a very interesting place. Once upon a time, i.e. before the person in question passed on, it was one man's personal classic vehicle collection, a lot of which was steam powered. Many parts of his collection are sitting as rusted hulks with nothing done to them since the day he got them as rusted hulks. But it's an absolutely fantastic place. There are worse. My living parents, I used to belong to a model engineering club. They had 5-inch gauge lines. Someone built a locomotive with a lawnmower engine. Made a terrible racket. That does not sound fun. Made him carry a fire extinguisher at all times. It's bad that the model in me screen put primer on, probably because I used not do primer now. I don't see primer, or I panic a bit. So I was going to primer it. I was going to get all the spray equipment out and set up the spray booth and primer it last night. I've actually got other stuff I need to spray in primer as well. It was all going to get done. And then I hurt my wrist, and I was in absolute agony with the wrist last night, so there was nothing getting done. I considered doing it earlier today, but my wrist wasn't feeling well enough in time, because I would have had to do it first thing really, to give it long enough to go off. But that is why it is not primered. I don't use primer. Are there restored articles in some sort of shed barn? If so, I think I've seen it. There is a few barns there with restored stuff in. Yes, Harry. So you may have seen it. It's a fantastic place. It's not so great if you're the exhibitor at a show and they've stuck you in a barn, because it is a case of they wheel the vehicles out, they don't clean anything, so you get to the show to set up. Everything is dusty because you're essentially inside a working garage for steam vehicles. How did I miss doing the blooming Westinghouse pump on the last go round with the paint? That's really weird. But yeah, everything is dusty and oily. You get absolutely filthy, and all the barn doors are open all weekend, so it's also really, really breezy. So it's not the best environment for being an exhibitor. But if you're just going as an attendee, it's fantastic. More importantly, what difference you found primates? Sorry enough, yeah, I just hate those primal models shouting that occur in the old noggin. Well, look, if I get enough paint on, then you won't see that there's no primer. Or you could always pretend I used white chocolate as a primer. No, I don't think white chocolate would make a very good primer. What's your point? But yeah, I am very impressed at how... I never did their first go round either. I missed loads. How did I manage that? I found I get better finish with white metal kits when I've used a primer first. Yeah, you can do, definitely. I find I get a better finish from Phoenix's improved engine green if you use a red primer underneath it, which evidently is the colour of primer that the Brighton used. In fact, yeah, Thomas, if you're worried about the lack of primer, the K-Class in the back here, that is just primer. The real engine was turned out for its trials in 1913 in its primer with the black bits painted, well, the smoke box would have been painted black and the footboard drop would have been painted black. Other than that, I don't know. But it was turned out in primer with its number in white on its cab side and LB&SCR in white on its tender. So I have genuinely, that is just red oxide primer, transfers and sprayed with varnish. So you can see primer, just not where you'd expect it to be because it's primer being used as a top coat. From personal experience, I found it just makes applying paint better, less obvious brush strokes, smoother coats of spraying, but that's what I found works. See, I've not found any problems with brush strokes from Phoenix paint, regardless of how I have prepared the surface. But that's just me. To go on slowly when painting my 9F, as long as it's not just me, that's good to know. I think everyone got annoyed at us last time we exhibited because we had the fire exit open to get some air free because it was really warm, but the door was right next to the railway. I think when I exhibited, which I believe was the year before College Halt went, the fire exit was open all day then as well, so let them be annoyed at you. Am I right in thinking College Halt was meant to be there this year as well? Not worried about the lack of primer. Well, the majority isn't. It's just the background being like, really? As I say, it's there. We have some primer, so that background noise can go away and be like, no, look, there's primer, plenty of it. And it totally makes my mogul look like James, which was unintentional. I never even thought about that until after I had put the black on it, and I was like, oh my god, it looks like James. Carla, the bot wants you to check out the website. You should definitely check out the website because it has Google Ads and I get paid for Google Ads. Did you know that? I have never earned a penny from my Google Ads because I haven't met the threshold yet. But that's just what happens, isn't it? It's funny, my black O class with red lining looks like original James. Gary's not allowed to tell people what I can. Gary gets money every time that people click on them. It's true, I do. I'm not allowed to tell you though. Google would genuinely tell me off for telling you that. But I'm not saying it, I'm just confirming that James is correct. Day out with LB&SCR James. Yeah, exactly. But I genuinely did not notice it looked like James until I started painting the black bits black. Snake it, James. Oh, it does get called James. It frequently gets referred to as James and plonked next to my extended tank E2 that gets called Thomas. If you open the page, a new tab by middle clicking and never look at the page. Yeah. All Google cares about is the click. Should I be breaking the Google rules this much on a Google run website? I don't think I should, but shh, don't tell Google. I think I'm small enough that they don't care. But yeah, I mean, in total, in the time I've had the website for the stream, or for the YouTube channel now, which it's over a year because I've had to renew it, and I did put the Google Ads on it straight away. The idea being that at some point I could do something that got enough hits on the web page so that the website could essentially pay for itself. In that time, from my Google Ads, I have earned 23p. And you've got to get to £60 before they pay you. James Redgrave. You will genuinely see quite often, if I take a picture of this, there will be an E2 and my model of the Fat Controller somewhere in shot. Sometimes they are not obvious and are well hidden by other bits of scenery or by being barely in the picture, but they are almost always there. Just wondering how close Phoenix Marsh Umber is to Bachmann's. Phoenix's Marsh Umber is slightly richer than Bachmann's. Very slightly richer. It's enough that it notices when you mix them. Hey look, this is feeling all dry now. Just opened 30 new tabs. Brilliant. I am going to refill the hydration vessel. Which I have to do left-handed, because otherwise I will spill everything. And this is an almost full 2-litre bottle of generic orange liquid. Generic orange sugar-free fizzy liquid. That's what I meant to say. Although it's not actually generic, they've run out of the generic stuff, because I usually do buy the generic stuff. So this is popular brand name sugar-free fizzy orange liquid. Hydration is important. Not that it matters, livery mixes varied a lot between batches anyway. That is indeed very true, but of course raising the point about differences, you can't touch up a Bachmann model with the Phoenix colour. So I'm going to have to be very careful when this gets redone, because, okay, that's still too tacky for transfers. This is getting backdated. Hydration is important, so is my peels. Be right back. Okay, Simon, your peels are indeed very important. But yeah, this is getting backdated. So it's losing its number on here, it's losing its name, it's even losing this crest, and it's losing the LB&SCR. If it needs touching up, make it dirty, hide the paint wrecking. That is the plan. But we will be getting LB and SCR on the tender. We have in here Stroudley style number plates that it had originally. And it wasn't named in that condition. And it didn't have the crest, it had the fancy LB&SCR writing. I have all the transfers for that. That is all this logo is getting. Backdating it. But it will be nice, it'll be slightly different to everyone else's. Will the other Mogul K-Class, aka James Mark II, have the same motor as James Mark I? No. James Mark I has the original K's motor in it. This second kit that I picked up recently has a nice replacement 5-pole motor. It's very fancy and it runs very well because obviously I have tested it. I somehow have blue tack halfway down the leg of my jeans. I feel this must be the fault of Mr. Mole somehow for shouting blue tack at me. All this talk of James is somewhat confusing. Sorry, James, do you want to be James Mark I and this can be James Mark II? What livery is Mark II going into? I've already agreed the sale of it with someone. I'm not going to say who I've agreed the sale with, but they have requested it come to them unpainted. So it will be off to them. I'll put some primer on it first, so it'll leave my hands looking red. But it won't actually get its livery until it gets to them. Let's stick a second coat on there. Ow, shook it with my right wrist, that hurt. I know what the Alexes feel like now. Hydration is still important, my throat needs clearing. And I get the same thing after me. Succeeded in fitting a stay alive in the fuel tanks of a Dapol Class 58. Excellent, James. Excellent. And here come some links from Mr. Mole. It's a delightful thing that the fuel tanks are being used for actual energy storage, as in reality. It is. That is fantastic. Now, if only all my steam engines were powered by boiling water. I mean, technically, with how power stations work, they are. But shh, don't tell anyone. Didn't fancy putting it in Mark 1 BG. I hear the BG staying alive. Great many Alexes, both in quantity and quality. Indeed, I'm finally able to actually watch the stream now. Being able to watch the stream is good, Alex. One approves of being able to watch the stream. I mean, that is why I do it, after all. Well, no, just making Alex is bashful. I mean, James is right. Dapple Class 58 is good. I need to automatically uncoupling with my train, so that wouldn't work. Also, Class 58 hauls HHA wagons rather than a BG. Yes, they are. Bit harder to fit stay alives in than some of the Farish models. Haha, fair comment, but can be done. Been keeping an eye on chat, just couldn't hear anything. Oh, wonderful. So you missed me saying I was a bit like you, being a lefty with most things this evening then. Likewise, front wheel like independent switching. Oh. So your models just have everything, don't they, James? In fact, James, I'll add one to the locos to buy list. Quite a fan of Dapol. Generally, they do sometimes have flaws, but they're generally lovely models. Each to their own, I suppose. I am not a fan of Dapol models. Have many issues with them, and know of many more. Dapol 56, I'm saying nothing. Good answer, Alex. Stay diplomatic. That hurt my wrist. Yeah, that's too tacky for transfers still. Let's put some black on it. Because I've got some of that. I'm remembering to shake it with my left hand this time. It doesn't take me many times to remember these things. Because that really hurt when I did that. There we go. Gary doesn't like dapple models. Also, Gary has almost nothing but dapple towards terriers. Yeah. It's true. Not going to deny it. But that was a very different era of dapple. I even have one of their 7mm terriers though. I've got it in umber. I would have liked it in improved engine green, but unfortunately they seem to they for some reason released one in bright yellow rather than improved engine green. So I decided to skip on that. Because for anyone that thinks I'm good at this stuff, when those 7mm terriers came out, I had never done anything like that before and never envisioned myself being able to paint improved engine green. Oh look, the floor fell out. Which is something I have successfully done now, in 4mm as well. And there's a link to Patreon. Because the chatbot wants you to support my Patreon. Because at the current rate it's going, I earn more from Patreon to pay for the stream than I will earn from Google Ads in a good 20 years. And that's monthly from Patreon, by the way. God, that's not even an exaggeration. Makes me wonder why I have Google Ads still. More from Patreon than 23p? Gosh, yes. I mean, it's taken 2.5 months of Patreon money to pay for the new sound card. But every little helps. And that really does help. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. I mean, the channel is still far from breaking even. But I don't want, but that's not why I do this. I don't do this for the money. The money just helps me be able to do it. Splendid. My class 58 slowly moving along my programming track. Speed step 3. Even a bit of insulating tape over parts of the track without stalling. Oh, that is fantastic. I do love it when you can get nice slow movement from things. Now, a lot of people are going to notice I'm painting this black. And I wouldn't normally paint the inside of a wagon black. It's just wrong. This one, however, is going to be permanently loaded with coal. And coal is black, so I'm just giving it a base round the edges to represent coal dust and whatnot up the sides. It'll obviously also need weathering on the outside. Also, the bare white metal would bug me, even if you couldn't see it. It's what Stay Alives do. It is indeed. The bigger the Stay Alive, the longer it can do it for. That is one of those convenient things I can do myself. I actually have a wiring diagram up in front of me for how to make a Stay Alive that I drew myself and then had to go to Linny and say, Linny, is this correct for a wiring diagram? Does it make sense? I got a yes, which was nice. We also want the lower half of the cab to be black. So we are going to go up to window height with black. I use 470 microfarad 16 volt titanium capacitors. I find that good for N-gauge. Yeah, that does indeed sound good. I assume that means you too make your own Stay Alives, James? Double O gauge should be aiming for circa 3000. Indeed. Dapol can do decent looking models just when they can be bothered being solely for them. Always seems to be when doing something in partnership with someone else, they mess it up. Oh, I've seen a few of their own for them models that they've messed for themselves models they've messed up quite badly, and then they tried to hide it on their forums, which is not a good look. Right, I am going to slide this in and see how far up the back. We do want the entire back of this bit to be black. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Use Zemo Stay Alive charging circuit, but source my own capacitors. Ah, fair enough. So, there's my Stay Alive building kit. Very small capacitors in there because those ones were bought to fit a very small loco. No, I don't want to take that off yet. I could probably get the first coat on there whilst we're at it. When I got exactly all the issues we had at the shop with depot models were their own ones. Right, there's 1 metre Linton's road platform bricked and paved and me run out stone paving slab sheets. Whoa, hey! Excellent. I thought you were laying track though, as well. Laid track as well. Use Zemo circuit all surface mount. I'd never be able to solder anything that teeny myself. Yep, fair enough, that makes perfect sense. It does seem to be double O that gets affected more though. The O and N terriers look superb, but yet the double O ones have issues. Surely we can get middle range to look good at the upper and lower. Did you miss my comment about their bright yellow terrier that they chose to release instead of improved engine green? Because that was O gauge and it did not look fantastic. Which sounds impressed with what you use for paving. Agrees. Nice double O with the issues. Interesting. What value capacitors do you use? I use whatever is the biggest I can get in the loco I'm working on. So those ones are only 470s, but multiple went in because they were fitting to a very small loco. They're not ideal, they barely keep it alive, but they do get it over points, which is what I was after. But yeah, I use whatever is the biggest I can get in. Which is the good thing about making them yourself, is you're not restricted on these things. But when I bought all that, I got enough stuff to make 25 Stay Alives for less than £5. So, you know, there are reasons to do it. Using wheel sheets, I was more talking about the tooling. To be fair to IEG, I was only issue with the O Terriers. The O range has been very good as a whole. Almost feels like they just don't try very hard when it comes to double O. Well, I mean, one of the issues with the double O is directly from the O gauge one with the cab roof. Just do post a picture in Discord. Yes, many pictures in Discord, Lenny. We all want to see. So you'll be glad to know now that I'm working on another colour, I've remembered that I forgot to paint the sides here because they're meant to be umber as well. complete with lining, so that was clever of me. One thing that happens is that Engage models seem to have better pickups than many of the Farish models. Oh, that is interesting. I did not know that. Of course, I don't spend a lot of time doing Engage myself because it's too small. I like to be able to see my models. I am reasonably well involved with the Engage at club, a situation that will unfortunately end in 1 or 2 more exhibitions times because the layout that I help with is being retired and I am not taking a role in the new ones. Because the 00 gauge is, well, it was supposed to be going to Tinker's Park next weekend as its debut show. But now that can be exhibited, I don't need to tag on to the Engage. Yes, N seems to be generally good as well. No idea why they botched up low so much. Love my DAP lows. Like to be able to see models too. I set my glasses off to see my Engage models. Time layout's great shame. What is the Upfield Engage? The current layout is called Oakley. I will dig out some of my pictures of it and post them to Discord if someone reminds me tomorrow. I have always enjoyed working with it. The club got donated the layout nearly 15 years ago, so it's showing its age. It had to have a lot of work done to make it presentable originally. It has done over 10 years on the exhibition circuit. Including the International Engage show on, I believe, 3 occasions now. And the 2 Mill Association show at least once. And look at that. The bot says hydration is important. So yes, Oakley has a very long history. It was due to be at the Bluebell exhibition this year, which was to be its final show before retirement. Obviously that was cancelled. It does have an invite for next year and I do believe it is going, so it will be having its final show at the Bluebell next year. Photos been posted on Discord, excellent. I will look forward to looking at them after the stream. I've very little dabble in 00 gauge so far. I have enough to make me not want much more. Don't have any Dapol logos, but a few pieces of rolling stock. Oh, I have loads of Dapol wagons. I know someone who owns a company that commissions Dapol to make wagons. Not sponsored, but let's go with naming them as Simply Southern. Ash, who owns it, is a very good friend of mine. And I do enjoy his wagons. He's recently branched out into areas other than Southern. So there is more stuff on there you can check out, even if you're not a Southern fan. But as I say, the Dapol wagons, so usual caveats of Dapol wagons apply. What is Oakley a model of? It's a preserved line set in the Midlands. So completely fictional. Great Western and LMS. Big industrial shunting yard. Sees mostly Great Western stock. And the occasional bit of winding up people stock, because you know some people like purity a bit too much. Linear's platforms look superb. Excellent. You're making me look forward to them even more, Simon. Have to go and see it. You will have to go and see it, and I'm sure I can get you coming and playing with it for a bit, especially since it's the last show. Kevin and Peter won't mind. I have static Dapol kits, that's probably it. Ah, I've been playing with one of them recently. Is the box still out here? It is, it's on the layout. Hang on a second and I will go and grab a Dapol kit I've been playing with once I have finished doing this coat of the black. God, it's looking fantastic already. It doesn't look like a bar of chocolate anymore. So yeah, Milky Way. Might make a few more Dapol static kits before I start with operational loco kits. Oh well, you see. When you see mine in a minute. is only over on Oak Hill, so it shan't be much effort to go and grab it. But there we go, looking much better already. Not going to push that on or twist that off by hand, by right hand. A little bit of blue tack there though, I can probably get that off. Looking increasingly like low motive, increasingly less like Kinder Surprise. It is, isn't it? I mean, the cab roof being unpainted doesn't even look too bad at the minute because that should be white, so it's not far off. I really need to get round to emptying some of this out so it's not quite so full. So let me grab this box. So here we have, for starters, a Dapol ready to run pug. Which of course has a cab full of motor. And here we have what I have been playing with recently, the Dapol static pug. The roof's not attached, so I'm going to pop it back off. Which has a very nice cab interior. Still needs, it needs buffers adding to the back, it needs its whole buffer beam adding to the front. I'm not done with it. Be getting dumb buffers because the real ones all have dumb buffers. It'll be getting a crew as well. And the thing about this Dapol static kit pug is that it's got a motor in it. Well, oh yeah, I forgot I haven't attached the back yet either, so I shouldn't hold it by that because I want to do that after I put a crew in. But yeah, that is gear on the wheel there, and that is very much a Triang XT60 out of the one of the singles. It completely fills the tank area. It is absolutely massive in there. You can only just see it through where I've had to cut away the boiler. Two pugs that are static. Yeah, this one used to be static, but not anymore. And you know what? I think it's a better model than the ready to run one because it's got a cab. I also have another chassis from a static one, with the original Airfix branding on the bottom. So that's an old one. My third pug is a Hornby working one. Yeah, this is obviously the same tooling, but this is a Dapol one. And because it's in this box, something that hasn't been seen for a while in public. Trying not to make the chimney fall off. It's Oak Hill the Loco! Yay! Oak Hill! It's my freelance Manning Wardle. My first ever attempt at a cab backhead. Surely the original would be Rosebud Kitmaster branding. You're right, it probably would. But yes, Oak Hill the Loco. Freelance Manning Wardle, based off the M-Class. Scratch built an Oak Hill locomotive. Yes, Scratch built out. It was my first time working with brass, and it was great fun. It was originally built on the Triang Nelly chassis. It will be being upgraded to one of these chassis, although inside cylinder. Of course, it needs some cutting down first so that it fits. So that is all. That is why it's in my box of pugs. With the chassis, very nice. But yes, so that logo does still exist. Where's the funnel gone? It fell off. But there it is. There we go, look, it's completely on there and not broken anyway, at all. I'm getting Bluebell Sharpthorn vibe from it. That's sort of what I was after when I was building it. But when it gets its new chassis, it's getting completely stripped back and repainted. It'll get some extra brass number plates and everything. So it's going to be like a whole new loco when it's done. Of course, that is not now, unfortunately. Sooner the better, though. I can't wait to have it back. I do love that loco. Concur, very nice. Thank you all. It's good to show it off again. Right, we are going to put some umber on the valances, and then we are going to do some actual modelling. I know, shocking. Actual modelling. And look, there's a link to my Instagram. Conveniently, just as my smartwatch went off with an Instagram notification about people adding to their stories. That was weird. It's almost like Instagram knew I was plugging my Instagram. Don't do that, Instagram. Yes, I best get these painted correctly because, of course, the valances also need lining. And I have done that on my Umber B1. I will be doing it on this one. Did it on the i3 as well, I think. And it does make a difference. Yes, that's fine. Very fine engine, good sir, thank you, Javier. Actual modelling, what sort of modelling have we been doing so far then? Painting. We're going to build a crew. Love the blue tap, no more accidents. Yeah, Mr. Mole shouts at me until I remember it's a thing. He's good at that, it's very much appreciated. Isn't it amazing what you can do in such little time modelling when you have the right kits? Tried to mend a DAP LB&SCR standard 4NT 468, it got broken, it's partially broken when I received it. And how did that go? Been using blue tack to hold engaged people so I could paint them. It makes it so much easier. It does, as does sticking a little stick on their leg. But through effort. It's not nearly as fun as when there's no paint spill. I had a paint spill a week or two ago. Ah, good, it's not just me then. Loving the new bot command. Hopefully it wasn't too hard to clear up. No, indeed, hopefully it wasn't as bad as my paint spills, James. I'm glad it's not just me. Although I do think next time I do any SCR carriages, I'm going to need a new tub of paint, because I think I have basically killed that one off. So what's everyone else been up to? Projects you're working on? Let me know whilst I remind you. Hydration is important. Unfortunately, on my painting mat did waste a bit of MR Crimson Lake, however. That's not a good colour to be wasting. MR Crimson Lake is a very pretty colour, especially when fully lined. I've already mentioned the DAPL 58 Stay Alive project. You have indeed. Now, I'd rather a regular paint spill that didn't make an already monstrous logo look even more scary. Yes, true. I know where my tub of people is. I know this because I dropped it earlier. Because, you know, strength in the wrist and all that. You're the Edwardians. The other ones are Victorians. And I don't think I want Victorians on this engine. Well, you've got away from me. Made a buff B4 which is on the loco now. Need to do valve gear, new buffs, and maybe some new decal transfers. Oh, excellent, J94's doing well then. Touchwood, no paint spills for me for ages. Bought a large tube of Yoo-hoo glue in a. Just burst a large tube of Yoo-hoo glue in the bed quilt. Oh, that's not good. That's very not good. I don't think I've ever managed to burst a tube of Yoo-hoo, thankfully. But testing against the one without Stay Alive, the non-fitted locomotive, will traverse my test track once at speed step 6, only stalling once with just cleaned wheels. I mean, that. My track once. That's not too bad for unfitted, really. But Stay Alive fitting is always good. I've not been up to much, to be fair. Need to reattach a wire. Well, you know what I have to say about that. I don't believe get on with it's a command, but it should be. You can get a mug saying get on with it. But you can get a t-shirt that says get on with it from my merch store. Because, of course, what you need to do is get on with it. Far better than Farish 47 was managed without Stay Alive. Yeah, I bet it is. 2 open projects at the moment, American Rebuild Planet and the Forsaken Streetcar. Gonna be honest, Javier, I prefer the American Rebuild Planet. Hopefully that streetcar is done and out of your hair soon. Oh my, it really has moved on. With Stay Alive, you speed step 3 without stalling. It moved without wheel cleaning. Excellent. Currently building an engine shed out of water tower building for my portable layout. Oh, very nice. Put an image in the Discord. Discord links. So investigating Hastings timetables and services to loosely based backstone running on, as well as trying to decide how to repaint my birdcage set. I'm thinking plain brown is easiest. Plain brown definitely easiest, I quite agree, Alex. You know I have the Brighton 1912 timetables, don't you, Alex? So I will have their page for the Brighton services to Hastings in 1912 in there somewhere, because I have the whole network. Why Streetcar Forsaken and Lethal Circuit? Proof title research. I can paint pretty short of bird cages and odd coaches in the earlier Crimson livery. Indeed you can. As we go on for a while now, me and AutoCAD have disagreements given its file size. Yeah. BR Black is actually okay, I don't need to do anything to it. Excellent, that's good to hear. Yes, I'm impressed by how well the Dapol locomotives run without Stay Alive, although it's still better with them. Indeed, always better with them. Who won the disagreements? And the merch store league. Certainly ain't going down without hitting a few slugs. I'm usually AutoCAD though. Thought about getting another 9F and paint it BR Black. Oh, they do look smart. They are smart locos. You definitely should. It's unfortunate. I wish Andy Sadden did earlier figures. My 1841 layout is going to be figure 3 at this rate. Someone does figures for the 1840s. I don't know what period of Victorianism his Victorian ones are. The right undergarments, this is Staten 1841 figure. Brilliant. You could always dress up in 1840s clothes and go to model you. You could, that's true. It's getting awfully close to finished, ever so. Yes, that would be good. We approve of finished, Javier. Yeah, these are my Edwardians, which are definitely the better figures to use for these rather than the Victorians that I've got. If you saw me, James, you'd know that isn't happening. It's alright, look, I wanted to backdate a Lego... Oh, he's not stuck, is he? I've got a little Lego figure mascot that sits up on top of my corkboard. And I wanted to backdate him a bit the other day. I've no idea where he came from. So I gave him a cane and a top hat. But he's already got the monocle. I don't know who he is or why, but he lives up on top of my corkboard. Top hats backdate everyone. So I'm actually really hoping it isn't raining this week. I don't mind if it rains this week, actually. It can rain all it wants. Looks like Penguin from Batman. It could be Penguin from Batman. He came out of one of the Lego magazines. I don't know what one. He was just lying loose. So I half-inched him. Perhaps one day we could all arrange to go to model union poses for each other in our respective layout eras. I could do more 1980s N-gauge figures and 1930s double O-gauge figures and probably some 1920s figures for the underground layout too. I would be down for that, James. I would definitely be down for that. So, we want a driver. He's going to stand about there, I think. And he's going to have some arms. I've decided he needs arms. Might stand a bit further over, actually. And he'll have an arm. Like this at the regulator. Yes, I like that. Always happy to wear costumes, everyone needs more dress up time. I'm not opposed to doing it for a reason. Don't think I'd suit 1930 figures, 1930s outfit. No, that's 1.5 two-way traversing my 1 metre test track with the unfitted 58 speed, step 6, only one stall. Excellent. Not even 1930s Ecclesiastical outfits. Even Loco Cruiser and issue, only ones I know of look even closer to the ones that come with the new rocket packs, if only you could get them separately. Oh look, and there's the donation link. So I should make a mental note of this. Good, do. Because I do think it's a fantastic idea. I would definitely be up for it. Do you have you as a vicar or other ministerial figure? Yeah. Oh no, it fell off. I think I know enough where it needs to be to do it though. Yeah, ideal. If I put it on there, it actually sits upright. Modelling the earlier hours isn't a good idea. Yeah, it is, Alex. Yeah, it is. Looking into the camera, evoking intense Catholic guilt. I think the classical figure would work well on 1930s layout. I doubt the ponytail would suit though. That'd be fine. Might be if you like challenges. Actually, figures you could get 3D software, a Blender plugin that you can use to create figures which you can then 3D print. So if you have the patience to learn the software, you might be able to get the figures. Yeah, I was waiting for that comment, Alex. There's no way Mr. Mole would be doing that. Unfortunately. There we go. Put this arm like that on the other side. I mean, I do like Staddam figures for this whole building them yourself purpose, but I think they work better in their original 7mm scale. And there we have the headless engine man driving his engine. Thank you for calling tonight here on Faye. We'll catch up tomorrow. Thanks for streaming, Gary. Okay, good night, Linny. Thank you for coming. It has been absolutely wonderful to have you here. And yes, remember to smash that like button, folks, as Linny asks. Smash the like button for Linny. Good night, Linny. Hood might be make the ponytail less obvious and classical garb. Ah, good point, James. Bye, Linny. Stay safe. And good night. At least I have two takers. Just on the side before I go, Rob, fancy a gaggle of Oak Hillites on my layout. Maybe you'll meet at the station to watch trains go by. Love it. Yes. Headless Engineman. How very New England Halloween. Exactly what I was going for, James. Yes, the Headless Engineman in his cab. In his cab that he was built for. Suppose we should give him a head though. In any event, really, ponytail would be fine in the 80s. It would. Mullet. Yep. A mullet would be even better, obviously. Let's chuck those two bodies that aren't going to get used in there. In fact, look, we've got two shovels that won't get used here. They can also go in there. And then we can pick a fireman in a bit, but first we've got to get a head for our driver. So this isn't a Halloween themed layout. It's not. Unfortunately, we are going to have to give him a head. It would help if I was looking at the front of the heads. I'm going to go with this one here. He's got a slightly slimmer face than his friend Captain Birdseye next to him, but just as bushy a beard. So I think how to style your hair for these purposes. It's true, you do. There's much to be said for a head. Indeed, Halloween themed layouts is perhaps a bit too GMRC for this channel. Little bit. Little bit. I mean, so far I've turned down their invitations to attend twice. I think I'll keep it that way. It's got a bag full of foam rollers, 3-case hot rollers and a coma for my dear. That's that hairspray, several prayers. Bushy beard is quite the thing for the Edwardian. It is indeed, and then the fireman shall be a younger fellow with just a moustache. He's not been promoted high enough to be allowed a big bushy beard yet. There we go. I approve of your gumption. Yeah. If all those fouls been, I always thought I'd suit a wimple can live with being cloistered for an afternoon. Excellent. Excellent indeed. And so there we go. Our headless engine man is no longer headless. and he is very much able to drive his engine. Thanks to Joy's Wikipedia, I've just learned what a wimple is. That's always good, isn't it? How to solve a problem like bad headache? Simple. You take up holy orders and become a sister. I think I'd prefer to be out in the community as opposed to being a nun proper in a monastery. Fair enough. I suspect that's perhaps more 1330s than 1930s. You never know with nuns. Hydration is important. I'd look at Prizer, they do early railway figures, but obviously HO, so might look too wrong. Nah, they'll be fine. People were shorter back in the past. See, that's just what you tell everyone. Works fine. Well, I suppose there were many travelling nun on the railways days of old. My ratio carriages, when I ripped the interiors out of them, had at least 3 nuns in them. Didn't they usually travel in pairs or groups? Perhaps Gary could be for nun. I'd make a great nun, I'm sure. And that's precisely how many models of me you would want. So, I'm going to ask, because I'm genuinely really nervous about this tonight, how is the audio doing? Is the audio still great? People were smaller way back when. Look at Victorians on the other hand. Tsar Alexander II. There's a reason he was allegedly named the Great Bear or something similar, regardless. He was huge. So, the thing to remember about that period is Napoleon was average height. Despite what everyone says. He was short in English measurements, but he was actually average height. The same height as me, who is very much 3 inches under average height. So, you know. People genuinely were shorter back then. Don't be so harsh on yourself. I definitely want a 3D Gary on each of my layouts. Well, I am flattered, James. Audio is fine, but definitely better when you move closer to the microphone. Audio is good, yes. It's fine, interesting. Oh yes, Napoleon 5'2" in French feet. Yeah. French can't do anything right though, much less measure anything. The audio is good, excellent. It's one reason why it is said why he liked the metric system. But yeah, in proper measurements, he was 5'6", which is how tall I am. Average height these days is apparently 5'9". So, average height then was apparently 3 inches smaller than it is now. Which probably works out right for HO figures. Not that much, not OOHO much. Bye, safe all of it. Okay, thank you for coming, J94. Good night, stay safe, see you later. Time for me to actually do something. Let's build a fireman. It's quite intriguing. Good night, Jennifer. Good night, Jennifer. So we're going to have our fireman. He's going to be stood over this side of the cab. It's obviously going to weigh too much and pull the cab down. And he's going to have his shovel in his hand, shoveling coal. Because he's a good fireman like that. Quite intriguing. Good night. I can read numbers, honest. Yeah, you're good at reading numbers. The best number reader, Alex. So I do wish he did some of his bodies were bent over slightly rather than all being bolt upright. But I'll put this hand coming out, the other hand will be straight. So the shovel will be diagonally between them. That's the theory. We'll have to set a date for this Oak Hill Aficionados model figures exchange, perhaps sometime Q1, Q2 2021. That would be good. Imagine it'd be a happy day out. Indeed, I would expect it to be a very happy day out. Certainly something I would look forward to. Doesn't help that Prize will do thousands of figure packs. This could take a while. Yeah. Plenty of time to plan costumes in the meantime. Vast numbers of model figures from German manufacturers. Indeed there are. Coming back to Heights of Monarchs, Charles II was nearly rumbled when escaping to the country in drag because he was big and broad, and the dressmaker commission was startled by his measurements. Brilliant. Bought a whole load of Engage Prizer figures to learn figure painting. See, if I was learning figure painting properly now, I'd buy one of them cheap 100 packs off eBay that you can get for like 99p. I'm sure by the time I'd done them, I'd have either A, gone insane, or B, become really, really good at figure painting. Look at the bot telling us hydration is important. My hydration vessel is empty. I should probably correct that. But first, I want to give this man another arm. A much more lower down arm for holding his shovel. This one might be better. No, that's the wrong side. So it definitely won't be better. Looks like it has to be this one. This is the only straight arm on this side. How strange. Charles II in drag, like most of the really cheap ones are badly ready painted. Yeah, but that doesn't stop you repainting them, does it? I use those for coach interior as well. I think that's their point, isn't it? How well painted does something need to be when it's in the interior of a coach? You can't see them anyway. Might as well just paint them all black and not bother with an interior. Few to paint from PD Marsh, put a pic on Discord, some I have done so far. Oh, excellent. I'll look forward to seeing that. Going to pay someone to paint my figures without a doubt. Can't say I blame you. I can recommend a few people, because I have paid to have figures painted in the past, back before I knew what I was doing. People thought Elizabeth I may have been a man because she was tall for a woman, but obviously we know better. It's silly things that people think comical at times, though. It is. It's very comical at times. Claudia everything's good, although she can be very busy and thus has large lead time. Good prices, though, fair enough. I wonder what people will think comical in the future when that is what in the future that is commonly believed now. Oh, I bet there'll be loads of things that people find comical in the future. I was discussing this with the kids the other day, actually. My daughter's sitting watching YouTube on her phone. So won't it be funny in the future when you're telling people about how you used to spend all your time watching YouTube on your phone as a kid, and they'll be like, "What? You didn't just have these games shot straight into your brain with the brain laser?" She doesn't believe me that there'll ever be a brain laser, and she's probably right. But I like to think there will be. That shoots TV shows and games and stuff straight into your brain. That fake tan was attractive. No one's ever thought fake tan was attractive. Some wonderful YouTube videos in the 1980s made by AT&T of future communications. simultaneously present and weird. People even think that now. That's it. No one thinks fake tan is attractive. Not even people from Essex. God, I hope historians of the future don't have to study blooming reality shows. Imagine that. Nothing wrong with being pale if that's how one's skin is naturally coloured. Indeed. Indeed there is not. I don't know why I've just put so much effort to putting that on. I've still not given him head. But he's getting there. We almost have a crew. Prize to do nuns and monks if anyone wants them. Ah, well then. Maybe that's where the nuns in my carriages came from. I imagine that linguists rather than historians might be more interested in them. I just hope no one is... I don't think anyone will ever be interested in them. That's what I hope. Because there's certainly no one I know interested in them now. I love being pale though. I did get told I looked really ill the other day and people have threatened to put me in the print having to study the likes of Made in Chelsea and Love Island. Yeah, you see the problem there, Alex. You know, I pity the people who have to write the scripts for those glorified domestic abuse romances. Yeah, prize to do practically every type of figure you could possibly want. It's mad. Excellent. Mad in the best possible... Oh, mad is always good. That one hurt a bit, not gonna lie. But that figure pack can go away now. Because all we have left to do is stick this guy's head on at a slight angle. Just have the delightful pre-packaged holiday look. Just have the delightful pre-packaged holiday look. I won't recite the tales. I strongly suspect that you know the history of this fashion. I'm sure she very much does. The words history and fashion are involved together. She probably does know it. She's a very clever woman, is our lady, Alex. Get the impression that Alex knows a great many things. She does. She does indeed. That head doesn't feel very secure and his shovel's fallen off. Stuck to me though. So that's good of it. Oh, for white one bit that doesn't exist. Oh. God, that's completely gunked up. This glue's going to be no good soon. Oh, and there goes his head. Said his head hasn't stuck very well, didn't I? It looks like he's been in a rather nasty accident now. I reckon I'd be more worried about my head falling off than my shovel falling off. Yeah, exactly. I know nothing but parrot a lot of rubbish. Nothing wrong with that. I do the same. There we go, we have a crew. Even if the fireman has fallen over already. There we go, we have a crew. Now, I believe that's not true, you know, fair fit about the MDR, for instance. I know how to make it sound like I do. Even if it were true, still knowing something, I've been proven wrong more times than I like to admit. Haven't we all? I like to think we all have. I certainly have. Big bit of glue on these that I'm going to get off. Because my fireman got stuck to it when I was trying to stand him up. Woo crew indeed. Now I'm going to let them set and dry. Recognise that you've been proven wrong about something, you've learned something which is more than can be said for many. Indeed, James, I'm glad you're here to put these arguments so well, because I really struggle with them. Because he'll never listen. And whilst they dry a bit, they can stand there and dry. I don't mind them standing there and drying. I'm going to put some red on the buffer beams. And maybe some white on the cab roof, and then we'll actually have no white chocolate left. Won't that be good? But at the point now where I won't say anything for certain unless it's written in front of me and they can be backed up with photo evidence. That's usually my technique of making sure I'm right about things. To be fair. That's why I always win arguments with Luke, for example. So I get so many blooming messages from him recently asking for advice about things because he believes I know it all. It's like, no, I just know how to Google it. So as I said, just parroting stuff. Socrates said the only thing of which I can be certain is my own ignorance. Indeed. It's looking beautiful. Thank you, Killian. I believe he actually said in ancient Greek, but that's probably a decent translation of spot buffer beamery. Indeed. Good approach, but it doesn't always work. Certainly I found in my Hastings research there's little photographic evidence. I have to make inferences from anecdotal evidence or ... because YouTube character limit, I assume. It's way too short. Allusions to the situation which has led to large discussion arguments with people over the issue. Yeah, I can see that being a problem. The buffer shanks themselves do not actually want to be red, they want to be black on an umber loco. So I'm doing my best to leave them clear. But it's not entirely possible. That's why I don't do that anymore. Sick of arguments. Again, aren't we all? As I say, I've got into this problematic state of where there are people who actually believe I know all these things because of my only arguing if I have the facts in front of me. So they now come to me for advice. And it's like, I don't actually know these things. I've just looked them up before arguing with you. And there we have some red buffer beamage. I love an argument. I just hate being mansplained, condescended to, especially when people answer the question they want to, not what I ask them when it's obvious I know what I'm talking about. Indeed, that's something about modelling early periods from 1980s layout. I can get huge amounts of photographic evidence just about everything on Flickr. 91st era layout is much harder to find information. There's a few photographs and some books, but information is often incomplete. Still insist on taking everything back to bare basics with every question. I know the basics. I told you the basics. I want specifics. Should make it so that the content creator can set it however many characters in a sentence they want. They should. That would be a great improvement rather than the fixed 200. For early periods, there are a few photographs still. Indeed, there are. And there's a link to the Discord. We must be getting close to the end. It's there to try and limit spamming and less information. Early periods, there's a lot more inference required. I know the feeling. I once asked when Shannon wore red livery and had the entire history of the engine told to me, so condescending. Yeah, that's just not helpful. Like, what's wrong with it wore red from 2? I agree, it's very annoying as a mod. I'm very glad the link exists. For a model railway, there's no problem with low confidence. Unfortunately, for a model railway, there's no real problem with low confidence interval interferences. See, Alex, as a mod, you may be glad that limit exists. But on Twitch, the limit is 2.5 times what it is on YouTube, with your 500 characters. Definitely need to refill the hydration vessel. And then remind everyone, hydration is important. Yes, and Twitch should reduce it. And what's worse is I only know Twitch have a limit because I have... No one needs to type that much in a stream chat. So as I was about to say, I only know there is a limit on Twitch because I have hit it. When typing a story out at the start of one of your streams of... oh god, I can't remember what it's called now. Oh, I like that game and I can't even remember what it's called now. Too much pressure. I'm intrigued as to what you're typing, not surprised. Gosh, I don't know, it's looking very painful. Greedfall, yes, Greedfall, that's it. One of the stories I was typing at the start of Greedfall. You see, James, when Alex is streaming, I quite often, although not always, get there quite early and compose either a short story or a song in the chat, so that when he starts, he knows his stream has started because he'll get my story or song in the chat. So for his return to streaming last week, for example, when he was rebranding to be Metros and Subways, I did a parody of the Wombles theme tune to be about subways. Underground, overground, subway in free. I'm intrigued. Are your songs anything like you don't? No, they're never that good. D3 has gone together quicker than any other project on the stream. It has. It's practically finished in 2 weeks. This says a lot for resin models. Always makes me smile or laugh. Good, glad to hear it. That's what I'm aiming for. Metros and Subways, that's masterful taste. It was marvellous. Who here, other than that, well, obviously knows which station that the overground goes under the overground and overground goes underground goes over the other. I do not. No. Can't even pronounce it. No, I can't pronounce the question. That doesn't surprise anyone at this point, though, does it? Let's be honest. You all know I can't talk. Me fail English? That's impossible. The only clue I'll give is that it's not Wimbledon. I'll give you the answer. Set up the next underground riddle next week. I'll have forgotten the question by then. So you'll have to make sure to remind us of what the question is as well. But yeah, I used to know the underground reasonably well because I went to London a lot. I no longer do. We are talking 15, 16 years ago, so plenty of time to have forgotten everything. So, some cream in the cab and then we're basically done. with covering up bits of resin. And you know what that means? That means Thomas's internal voice can stop shouting at him. Because there won't be anywhere that isn't primered that he can see. Proof me based on, I'm still not even halfway through the prize of figures on Gauge Master. So there's just a couple of them then. $1,364. It's absolutely insane. And there we go. If we splash a load over the cab roof as well, then there is no white chocolate left on display. Obviously a couple of bits need another coat and the buffers need black still, but there is no white chocolate left on display. I'm at 561 to 580. Wow. Yes, so that means crowd. I mean, that's a crowd scene's worth of figures. It is. They've covered all bases. I mean, you can't fault them for dedication to the cause. It's a lot of bases, yeah. Scale 2 metre social distancing. That's a big layout. Excellent. 1840s. Yay! 1840s found. You know, I'm looking at this logo now and thinking I best get the transfers out for next week. This is quite incredible for 6 hours worth of modelling. Social distancing wasn't a thing in the 1840s. Indeed it wasn't. Yay, my era. Yeah. I'm really impressed with our 6 hours worth of modelling. How are these buffer beams? They're dry enough that I can do the black on the buffer shanks. There we go. We're basically there. Although I forgot to paint this bit red earlier. And I've put my blooming blue tack away. Sadly, I only do 2 sets. If I was doing 1900, I'd be well supplied. All those figures, and there's only 2 sets. I think you should write to your MP about this outrage, Alex. Do German Air Force bands 61 figures. Michael, hell, 95. Rats and Watch just finished building now, buddy. Low impact modelling now. Welcome, Michael McCarville. What have you been working on? Please do tell. And welcome. I hope you are well. This is certainly a low impact modelling this week. It has been very intentionally so, as I am nursing a sprained wrist. And there we go, there is the buffer shanks in black. Such as if I think a bit of cholera never hurt anyone. No, exactly. Be a big band. Dear Daily Mail, it's people's state of affairs. Exactly, Killian. 61, nice. Oh, and there's a link to my Facebook page that I set up. Especially after Jon Snow came up with his sanctuary plan. Seems like he knew something after all that, Jon Snow. Don't think that standing far apart from people will make much difference. Whether one contracts cholera? Probably not, no. Much more sensible spot sanitation indeed. Well, finished an HO Mine Craftsman kit. Oh, very nice indeed. Fascinating article I found online years ago, written, I believe, in 1850s about Jacob's Island in London shortly before it was demolished. Have you seen that? I have not seen that. What about hacking off consumption? Well, you don't catch consumption, do you? I've just noticed the prices, maybe not. Oh, do tell, Alex. What are the prices like? Didn't about a third of people have a tuberculosis infection in those times, albeit in most people it was asymptomatic? Certainly a very high number did, yes. May well have been a third. Wouldn't surprise me. Also, wouldn't surprise me if women were more susceptible due to corsetry. No corsets didn't cause these illnesses or malformations, but due to the construction of the lungs. 8047 seated passenger set, £32. That's a lot of money for some people. Says me, who builds Andrew Staddon Cruise. Having to breathe with the top part of the organs, there can easily be an increase in fluid on the lungs, leading to respiratory issues. Well, stop wearing them then, Alex. Interesting, I don't imagine the corsets were in the least good for the wearers, although of course only the relatively wealthy wore them, I think. Gosh, how many in the set? Yeah, that is a good question. How many are there in this £32 set? Because that's a lot of money. Time to do something we've not done for a while and break open some acrylic paint. This is Humbrol's number 104, which gives us a nice colour for the uniforms for this crew that we've stuck together earlier. They're going to get plastered in it. 13, at least they are already painted, but I need more than one set. I mean, for 13 figures, that's not too bad, especially if they're already painted. I mean, my Staddon Crews are £15, I think, for 6 figures, and they need building, never mind painting. Most women wore corsets, albeit of different styles and restrictions. Went into detail in both my workbench and Castle Aiken threads. You hand painted apparently. See? That's a fairly expensive set of figures. Interesting and unfortunate for the multitude of wearers. Yes, how many sets I might need, that worries me. Yeah, I get that. Trust me, I get that. I mean, it's like DCC chips. I think of them as, DCC chips aren't expensive. They only cost me a tenner on top of the cost of the loco. But when you consider how many locos I've got, that's a lot of £10. People must have had some weird taste to think that people look better in corsets. I mean, they're really very comfortable and useful garments, supportive and they take the weight of all layers of clothing, essential period garment as a foundation layout. Yeah, as James says, intriguing. There we go, there's the start of his uniform. You and my mum would get on well. She makes and wears historical costumes. Going to big lecture on subjects. Don't want to info dump. She's on set as local crews. £18 and have 5 locos. Yeah. I wish I had 5 locos. I have currently 24 Brighton locos. In fact, with this D3, I have 25 Brighton locos. Supportive same way as tight waistcoat, both cases, though you wouldn't want to wear one for an extended period. Yes, see the problem, perhaps you'd be better off with it. If his standard figures aren't early enough. Of course, it's perfectly healthy to wear all day. Victorians and princess wearing stays would be very. Corsets are perfectly healthy to wear all day. Victorians and predecessors wearing stays with the tightness of the laces through the day, and it isn't like you tie the knot then suffer all day. You'd fulfil a character limit if you did. Suspect it's an interesting topic. I've seen YouTube videos of historical costumes in films, what people wore in the past, and intriguing, yes. So, yeah. My Staden figures cost roughly £5 per loco. In comparison, whilst we're talking figures, then you stick the £10 for the DCC chip on. Then you consider that I have 25 Brighton locos, never mind the rest of the collection. Oh dear, this hobby is expensive. I try not to think about it. And there we go, that is that. Corset adjustment, didn't know about that. That is most intriguing. What would occasion adjustment? Mills, I shouldn't wonder. It's a lot of locomotives. Yeah, and that's just the Brighton ones. Never mind the southeastern ones. I've got an LSWR one. I've got all the industrials. I've got my ones that don't fit elsewhere and we will avoid mentioning, most of which will never run, so they're not important. Woman would excuse herself to the bedroom and private room and loosen the laces. It's maybe after a meal or before or after exercise if she felt bloated or the corset was pinching any reason. Probably a bit, yeah, it is, isn't it? Just never think of the prices. I have 26 Brighton locos if you want to include my freelance man in Wardle, Oak Hill. That's not going to work, is it? This is acrylic, I want the water. Must remember not to use that wrist. I'll get a rocket set one day so I can nick the crew from that as well. Yep, fair enough. Learned much about the history of clothing this evening. Indeed, I think we all have, James. Certain I've seen advertised mass-produced corsets in railway booklets pre-grouping days, even specific travelling corsets. Question, if you all don't mind, does anyone know where Nigel Digby is these days? Nope. My collection of locomotives starts with a 5. How many digits come afterwards? That's the interesting thing. It is, if you include all my stock from when I was modelling the 50s and my stock from before that when I was modelling the 50s in the Midland region, and my brief period flirting with modelling the 60s, I definitely have 3 digits worth of locomotives. So there's that. And that is a very, very scary thought. Three digits, gosh, yes. And all in 00 as well. Or 009. Oh god, I forgot about the 009 when I was listing stuff off. Plonk that back on its chassis, which the chassis obviously still needs some paint. Grab my podium, we'll put it this way round, because I'm hoping with a bit of blue tack that I can get the crew to stand in front of their loco. No, you know how I got this stand really well the other day? I used the box. Hang on. As you can see, I've still not made my thing I was going to make for this. But doesn't that look good? More than some mainline companies. Yeah, I could run a better service than Southern. My collection was nearly 3 digits before the purge. That's a lot. That's a lot to have had to purge. Especially in the 1840s. I think that the well-known YouTuber Jenny Kirk has over 200 in 00 gauge. I would expect she does. I'm catching up. A lot more of mine are kit built than hers. Don't know what I have anymore. It's gone up north. It's all gone up north. Splendid figures, even if they're not wearing corsets. Yeah. Very nice, wonderful. Huzzah for great progress. Indeed, it looks great. Thank you, everyone. And there we are, ticking over to midnight. With a loco that we built in a week, we've painted it in another. Obviously, it actually has a lot more painting left to do. There's the darker umber around the edging of the panels. There's all the lining to do still, obviously. But I think we've made some pretty terrific progress here tonight. That is, you know, for 6 hours work, I think we've done blooming well. Very nice, goodness me, good night, splendid stream. So, looks good. So, yes, thank you everyone. it has been absolutely wonderful to have you here. You have been awesome as always. I have had a great time, and I have learned a lot about corsetry. Pretty sure it's all stuff I've heard before and learnt before, but, you know, I need to be told these things a few times or it doesn't stick. The good lady's used to that by now, though. So yes, thank you all for coming by. It's been absolutely wonderful. Please do like the video if you the live stream if you haven't already. Check out Tuesday's video. I have no idea what it's going to be. I haven't thought about it at all. So this is going to be an interesting one, rushed out tomorrow. So please do watch that and like it. It will mean a lot. Well, it's lovely. Awesome stream as always. Proof of doing blooming well. Awesome stream as always. Stay safe, everyone, and good night. So yes, thank you, everyone. I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You've been absolutely awesome. Good night.